Hello, Daniel. It's very nice to see you today in Nakhon Nayok, Thailand. Okay.
Yes, I enjoy our meeting a lot.
Yes.
And I would have a few questions to ask you.
Yes, you're welcome.
At the moment, I live most of the time in Germany, and then I come over the winter here. And I have noticed that the latest question, is what can we do about burnout? Burnout seems to be the word at the moment.
Yeah.
So many young people have burnout.
Burnout, which is the severe stress, really, isn't it?
Yes.
The severe stress. Okay. So, well, first of all, I would like to show you about, how a human life form is made up. Okay. This is the essence of Buddhism, really, to understand how a life form, is made up. So basically, the Buddha said that this life form, which has the body and then the mind, the state of the mind inside, is made up of 5 entities. Sometimes we call 5 aggregates. In Thai, we call khandha. Okay. So the state of the burnout or severe stress is the nature of the mind that is really unsettled, right? Sometimes you can say, lose control, just don't know what's going on. It's something that, your thoughts that it's run in your mind about 1,000 miles per hour, something like that, isn't it? Or very much like a runaway train without a brake, without a brake. And then we just lose control, don't know how to stop this runaway train, which can be very frightening. It is frightening until somebody just facing the breakdown. So if you want to resolve, this problem, the Buddha said that you have to come to understand how the 5 aggregates work, all these 5 entities work. So I like to show you this first. We have the body. Yes, the body. Okay. According to the Buddha, the brain belongs to the body. Okay, belongs to the body that we call rupa, R-U-P-A, rupa. And then the mind is in fact made up of 4 entities. 4 entities. The water here represent the problems, the problem at work, domestic problem, all these things, relationship. And then you also have what I call your mental self. You got the physical self, the shell, and then you got the mental self. This mental self, in fact, is the nature of your consciousness, human consciousness. Okay, this nature.
Is that the true self?
Yes, I always tell my students that this is your inner self, your mental self, or your true self. The self that you got to be, that you got to protect from the problem. So when the problem come into your mind, it rattle your mental self or your true self into the state of a burnout, severe stress or breakdown like this. So you can see that this state of the mind, according to the Buddha, he separated it into 4 entities, 3 parts. Okay, yeah. If you move to this one, I can show you better. So this is your physical self, right? Your physical self, and then this is your mental self, your mental self, and these 3 minds, okay, represent the problems. Represent the problems. So these 4 entities, which make up of what I call Tom and Jerry's. Tom and Jerry's 4 entities make up into something that the Western world call the mind. But to the Buddha, in fact, it got the subject as Tom and then the object as Jerry. So you might wonder that where all these Jerrys come from. Jerrys come from all the events, in the external world that your physical self go to deal with. At work, all this pressure of this problem that come into you. So the Buddha said that no matter what problems that you have, you always round them into the problems that come with sight, problems that come with sound, with smell, with taste, and with texture. Okay? So all these are the database of the problems that your physical self got to deal with in everyday's life event. And all this data will come through the bridges in your body, the bridges of eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and your skin. Okay, so in fact, this physical self is only the bridges. Let all this data of problem come through. This is not the real self. This, according to the Buddha, is only the shell. It's only the shell. The real boss is this one. The real boss is this one. So all this data of problem, in the external world, travel through all the bridges, come into your inner world, and then they dematerialize and turn into energy form. Which turn into your memories, okay? Which is like all the database collect into this memory box, and then turn into your thinking, your thoughts, and then your feelings, which we all like to say thoughts and feelings. So these two work together. As thought, all the noises in your head, and then the feelings in your heart.
Then always the people say it's so difficult to see what is what. So that when you feel so like this, right?
Yeah.
Then they don't know where they start. They don't know what the reason for this upheaval is.
So that's why we need to understand how all this works, you see. So first of all, you got to know that Jerrys, what I call Jerrys, are the carrier of all your problems from the external world, from this, world of material that come into your inner world, turn into your thoughts and your feelings, which revolve about all your problems. So this state is nothing more than these Jerrys, which I represent them as like the three general, which has all the armies of Jerrys, little Jerrys, because they're in energy form. So energy form can expand very quickly. So it's very much like these three general went off to bring that whole army of Jerry, and then come to build a nature of a black forest, over your mental self or your true self.
That is because they cannot see what's going on.
They cannot see what's going on because all these are in the energy form and happen in your life. You see, in this shell, in this body. That's why it's so difficult for people to understand what's happening to me. Why, thinking a lot. I don't want to think, but why I cannot get rid of it. So this is what happened. The Buddha tried to say that all this Jerry, it has nature that can expand. Proliferation that you call, isn't it? Proliferation, it can expand so quickly. So these are the state of all the noises, in the people who got the nature of the burned out. Okay, so this nature and this one is the same. So this whole army of Jerry represent this water. Okay, and that your mental self has been buried by the whole army of Jerry. So this is just like this. This is about 1,000 miles per hour without any control. Or another example. So this is your mental self, which is your true self, real self. When the whole army of Jerry come into your head, in your heart, it forms the nature of the mental black forest, cover your mental self, and then it start to swing you around. Okay, make you feel totally lost in this black forest. So this nature and this nature and this nature are all the same. This is my way trying to help people to understand what's happened in your mind, in your head and in your heart. Why you got so many, thoughts in here and cannot get rid of.
Then their next question is usually, how can I go about it? What are the first steps? It's like you have to take them by the hand.
Yeah.
Because it's very difficult when you are in this situation, right?
Yeah, and try to let yourself have control over your mind. Basically, you want to ask that, how can I stop this troubled mind? How can I stop this troubled mind? How can I put the control over? How can I slam the brake on?
How would you suggest to somebody like this?
So this problem, we got to, trace back to the night of the enlightenment of the Buddha. So what happened on the night of the enlightenment of the Buddha is that on that night, the Buddha, he disconnect and go beyond. The word enlightenment, it means that first of all, he was like this before. He was like this before, full of suffering, And then suddenly he had this experience, this encounter. He disconnect and he go beyond this lump of suffering. This lump of suffering. Okay, in Thai we have the word called lut pon. Lut, which means disconnect and then go beyond. I talk about this in this book, I think. Okay, and I hope for him for him time. So when the Buddha, have this experience of enlightening experience of disconnect and go beyond, that was the first time he was the first human being who could see life beyond all this jerry, all this thought in the head. And then he got to exclaim, it's just, in Japanese they're called satori. Satori, enlightening. It, really amazed that there is such an ultimate freedom in humans' mind. That is a totally liberation, total awakening of this, life form. So this nature that is totally free from this thing, okay, this lump of this whole army of suffering, is what the Buddha called nirvana. Okay, nirvana, but in fact it's a total peace, total liberation that totally free from this lump. So when the Buddha understand this, he could. This is the source of the noble, the Four Noble Truths. So the Buddha understand that. Try to tell people that we have the nature of the suffering, okay, with the suffering, and the cause of the suffering is caused by all these jerries. And then he want to confirm to people that in fact there is a state of freedom, mental freedom, a total mental freedom, overcome this, and then come to the